It's great. The game's great. Honestly, I wish I could tell you it's bad. I wish I could tell you you didn't have to spend $450 for a piece of shit and then another $70 for the game, but it really might be worth it this time. You could maybe say I'm biased because I love baby games. I'm a big fan, but this game is basically Super Mario Odyssey 2, and I hated Super Mario Odyssey. I think that game is dog shit. It is made for literal toddlers to run around like an idiot doing nothing. It was the lamest, most juvenile, most dumbed down Mario game ever made, and this was made by the same team, so I started the game with the sole mission of collecting data on how to shit on it. And then I started playing, and I was starting to have a little fun, and I was getting a little afraid because I was worried the video was just going to be, it's all right, it's fine, it's not that bad, which is really the worst thing you can tell anyone. There's nothing less interesting than a mediocre game. But then I started playing it a little more, and I started having a little more fun, and I'm like, oh no, I'm starting to smile. I can't remember the last time I smiled playing a game before. I keep playing some more, and I keep having fun, and I think to myself, man, I've been playing this for a while, and it's keeping up the pace. It's only getting better and better, but I've gone through a lot of game. I must have been playing for a long time, and then I looked down. I looked down at the clock, and it had only been 2 hours. I can't explain to you that feeling. How long it's been that I played a game and it felt like I was doing so much gameplay, but I had only just begun. Normally it's the opposite. Normally I'm like, man, I must have been playing this game for 12 hours because it's so fucking shit and I can't stand it anymore. That's what I'm used to. So yeah, it might be time. It might be time to buy the Switch 2. Now, admittedly, I haven't bought it yet. I'll probably wait till the new Pokemon game to buy my own Switch 2. But unless you have a good buddy like me who will let you use theirs, I think it might be worth it to buy a Switch 2. If I haven't convinced you quite yet, we might as well talk about the actual game. But before that, make sure to subscribe. Before we get to Donkey Kong Bonanza, let's talk about Super Mario Odyssey for just a second, because they really are very similar games in that they have moved away from the traditional Mario formula, where the old 3D Marios focused on fewer, more important collectibles, like 120 stars, compared to Odyssey's moons, which are far more plentiful, but less important. I think other than the Odyssey team simply improving over time, Donkey Kong Bonanza elevates the formula in two fundamental ways that completely change the dynamic of the game. First, there are far more collectibles in this game. Odyssey really only had moons and coins, and sometimes the coins are slightly different colors, while Bonanza has gone full Donkey Kong 64. There is so much shit to collect in this game. You have the main collectible, which are golden bananas. Then you have gold, which is the equivalent of coins. You also have fossils, which are used to unlock costumes, and you have multiple tiers of fossils. You have regular fossil, slightly rarer, bigger fossil, super giant, ultra rare fossil. Then you also have banana coins on top of that, and then all the way on top of that, you can collect music discs. There's just so much to get in every level. No matter what you're doing, where you're going, what you're fighting, you're always getting something. And that wouldn't matter so much if it wasn't for the second major improvement. The collectibles feel more impactful than not just Odyssey, but almost any other 3D platformer I've played, which sounds insane because not a single collectible bars progress. Yes, literally, except for maybe some story moments, you would never have to collect a golden banana. Now, you'd have to be a psychopath to actually do this. I don't know why you'd buy a collectathon and not collect things, but if you really wanted to, you could just bum rush through the entire game. But that doesn't mean it's a bad decision. In fact, I think the distinction is extremely important because when they bar your progress through a collectible, they're making you collect it. You're not collecting it because you want to, you're collecting it because you have to. So how do they make the collectibles desirable? Well, the RPG elements, of course. Yeah, I know, it sounds fucking insane. Genuinely, it sounds like corporate meddling, like every other stupid AAA game that shoves in RPG elements for no reason, but it fits so well. The main collectible, golden bananas, give you skill points. Every 5 golden bananas, you get 1 skill point. Then then you can use these skill points to get skills. And the important part is these skills are impactful. Each skill, upon unlocking them, immediately improve the gameplay. And it makes every banana feel like you're working towards something important. It's like, oh man, I just need one more banana and now I have a double jump. Or, oh man, I just got 3 skill points. Now I can surf across water. Or now I can be in my super giant ultra monkey form longer. It's just such a stark difference between Odyssey, where every time I got one of the stupid fucking moons, you had to sit through Mario dancing like a dipshit over what would essentially amount to as a 1-up in literally any other game. But in Bananza, every time you get a banana, it doesn't matter that it's 1 out of 1,000 bananas. What matters is you're now 1 step closer to that cool skill you really want. Well, what about the other collectibles? Well, costumes are back, of course. And sure, it's good enough reward to look a little cooler, but no, they went 1 step beyond, and the costumes give you a tangible benefit. They all have substantial stat increases, and they were very smart about it. What they could have done is you get the costume, and immediately you have 80% longer giant monkey form, and that would have been cool. We would have liked that, but they would have had to price it high. Or they could have done the opposite, and it could have been cheap, and it would be 10% big monkey time, and you'd barely notice it. But they're smart. They made it incremental. The first one is cheap, then you get a little more, then you get a little more, and now the small fossils won't even get you it anymore. You have to find the rarer, bigger fossils, and now you get that huge benefit. 80%. That is extremely noticeable. I'll admit it, originally, I wasn't getting all the fossils. I'll get them if I see them. Maybe I'd look for a couple, but as soon as I notice that, I'm like, man, I want more big monkey time. I love being a big monkey. So I'm getting every single one of these, and I was having more fun. The game was more fun when I was trying to get every single one, and I just need that little push. That little bit of extra reward makes all of the difference. And what about gold? The thing you're gonna get the most of throughout the entire game. They're just like coins in Super Mario, but again, more impactful in every single way. Of course, you get to use them to buy stuff, just like Mario. Some power-ups, temporary, more health. You die, you get all your health back. That's pretty impactful, but we're not done there. No. The gold is also how you get to Super Monkey Form, the funnest part of the game. So they took something that genuinely doesn't matter. You barely even think about it. It's mostly just used to tell you where to go. And now it's the thing I literally want all of the time, because it means I can turn into a giant demon monkey who destroys everything. And let's talk about the giant monkey. I'm going to illustrate how I think the Odyssey team has just generally improved. And if this does not sell you on the game, you're probably not going to like it. And it's fine. Don't buy it. Don't get a Switch 2. Wait for the next Smash Bros. Where we can fight Master Chief with Jesus Christ. In Super Mario Odyssey, you see a light coming from the ground. All you do is walk over to that light and ground pound it, and now you've got a moon. Maybe if you're feeling extra spicy, you could do like a cap throw dive to go slightly faster. But if you ask me, this is extremely lame and not interesting at all. I have already fallen asleep watching this clip. Now, Donkey Kong Bananza. I see a golden banana through the wall right over there. All I have to do is move from point A to point B to get the main collectible of the game with literally no obstacle in between. I cannot take damage. I cannot lose. But what I do is I turn into a giant monkey. I punch through a fucking mountain screaming at the top of my lungs, and then I get the banana. If you don't see the difference there, it's fine. The game's not for you. But to me, this is infinitely more engaging. It's not harder. In fact, it might even be easier, but it's more fun. I'm doing cool shit. I like cool shit. Odyssey is lame. Donkey Kong Bananza is just fucking cool. It's cool all the way through. The bosses, dude, they're barely even bosses, but it feels fucking awesome to have a giant golem spawn in front of you and then you punch him to death in 30 seconds. Because that's what this game is. It's a true power fantasy game. And it's everything I could have wanted in a power fantasy. Maybe it could have been a little better if when you punch something, it exploded into blood. But that might be the only thing I'd want. Because you're just collecting a bunch of shit that all feels great to get. And then as soon as you see an enemy, you punch him into the fucking sun. You go straight through mountains. You scream the whole time. It's great. You feel like a superhero. And not the lame ones who are like shooting magic or whatever. The cool superhero who's basically brain dead and just punches his way through every single problem. This game is fun in the same way that spawning in a bunch of tanks in GTA is blowing up every single cop car, except the game is built around it. Everything from the level design to the enemy design to the boss design is built around making you feel strong, because Donkey Kong is supposed to be strong. He is basically a god in this world. He is the homelander of the monkey race, here to obliterate all of his enemies. So we can briefly talk about the combat, but if you've heard anything I've said so far, you know exactly what it is, and I think it's perfect for a 3D platformer. It's unobtrusive. You literally just see an enemy. If you're not paying attention, they can hurt you. I have died in this game, but for the most part, they're just there as a giant punching bags for you to explode into bits. Every fight is solved in less than 30 seconds by either punching them into the earth or picking up the earth and beating them to death with it. There are no fancy combos. There's no juggling people in the air. No, you just hit them, and with every punch, bits of their body explodes into dust. Any more complexity, it wouldn't fit the design of the game, it wouldn't fit the power fantasy, and it wouldn't make sense for my monkey man, because he should obliterate everything just by looking at them. Now, I have sure been talking about Mario a lot in my Donkey Kong review. While this is basically Odyssey 2, this is clearly a Donkey Kong game. It has so much love for Donkey Kong, way more than I was expecting given the shitty redesign. And when I say love for Donkey Kong, I don't mean the original Donkey Kong. I mean love for the Donkey Kong we all know. Rare's Donkey Kong. The entire game is filled to the brim with references to the original Donkey Kong Country, as well as the game design clearly taking inspiration from Donkey Kong 64. I don't think it's a coincidence that Donkey Kong Bonanza has more collectibles than any other 3D platformer, beaten only by Donkey Kong 64, except better in basically every way, because those collectibles feel extremely impactful and you don't have to switch Kongs every 25 seconds. But as for those references that we all love, all of your favorite Donkey Kong characters are back. Cranky Kong, Diddy Kong, Dixie Kong, all of our Kong friends are back. The animal buddies are back. The items are back. They literally put the balloons from Donkey Kong Country back into this game, and they fit perfectly. They very easily could have made this some random ass new rock thing that brings you back to life. It's the balloon from Donkey Kong Country, and it works exactly like you think it would. In fact, you want to talk about love for Donkey Kong Country? They literally have a Donkey Kong Country level in this game, and it has the secret from the first game to get a golden banana. So if you remember, if you've played the original Donkey Kong Country, you'll know to turn around so that you can go back into Donkey Kong's house and collect a banana. Remember the Kremlings, the enemies from Rare's Donkey Kong that we haven't seen since Donkey Kong 64? That everyone lost their mind when King K. Rool was announced for Smash Bros? Now, I haven't spoiled anything in this review so far that hasn't been in the trailer, and I'm not going to start now, but all you have to do is look at the skeletons of the enemies. Those are Kremling skeletons, and you can figure out the rest from there. Yeah, there's no doubt that this is a Donkey Kong game. Even in general, there's a much greater focus on the digging, fighting, and exploration than any Mario game. There's still platforming, and it's still fun, but it takes a back seat. And I think it's for the best, because Odyssey basically didn't even have any platforming anyway. It was like a baby, brainless, stupid platforming that wasn't fun or interesting. So I'm glad they moved in a different direction anyway. So what's bad? There's got to be something bad. There's no way everything about this game is good. What about the music? Nintendo music has been going downhill for years. I love Breath of the Wild, but the music is terrible. It started this horrible trend of games not even having music. It's just fucking ambient garbage that no one's ever going to listen to outside of the game. If I'm playing a game, I want to be fucking jamming. And guess what? You're playing this game, you are fucking jamming, dude. The music is great. Best Mario's been in a long time. Not as good as Galaxy, because nothing is good as Galaxy. That's one of the greatest games ever made. But it's pretty fucking great. When you turn into your super giant ape form, where you're screaming and punching through buildings, and it feels super great, well, you also get a special music track just to make it feel even more impactful. It's great, dude. It's all great. What do you want me to tell you? Get your fucking money out. Get your credit card out. Buy it now. Or do what I did. You find an elderly lady and a brick, and then you have a Switch. Okay, I'm kidding. The game really does have some problems. In fact, I think the biggest problem with the game that's gonna turn the most people off is actually something I previously praised. You know how the Donkey Kong design has these stupid fucking pants that look like dog shit? Well, you can actually take them off, and now you look like a cool giant monkey again. The problem with that is the costumes give you tangible benefits that you do want. So it means you have to put the pants back on, which is fucked. If I'm going to be a big monkey, I want to be rubbing my donkey schlong against the ground. It's bullshit, and they need to fix it. Anyway, I think that might be it. I genuinely have nothing else to complain about. Sure, the bosses are really short. I mean, they're basically not even bosses. You just kind of kill them super fast, but I like that. I want that. I want to be the strongest man. I am the biggest, coolest monkey. I want to obliterate everything in my sight. There should be no bosses. The bosses are weak. I am strong. I guess the shrines are a bit lame. You know, shrines that we've seen in literally every single Nintendo game since Breath of the Wild. They were in Odyssey too, and they're still very simplistic in this game too, but they're fun. I like them. It's a good pace breaker, and despite being short and simple, they have some of the most interesting level design. This is where the Donkey Kong Country level comes from, is one of the little shrines. So objectively a little lame, but I think I still love it. So all this brings us back to Nintendo. We gotta talk about Nintendo, because it's not like this magically makes Nintendo a good company. They're still shit. The Switch 2 itself is still a terrible fucking console. I mean, Donkey Kong runs great most of the time. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't make the game worse, but it is kind of pathetic that on their new, super strong, super expensive console, the game still lags. It's only in a couple spots. The game has bonus rooms where you can collect a shit ton of gold really fast. And basically all of these rooms spawn too much gold and it lags the game. Which, it doesn't mean the game is bad, but it does make me feel even worse for having to use this shit console. Ever since Iwata died, the upper management at Nintendo has been filled with nothing but greed and hate for the player. But that doesn't mean that Nintendo still isn't full of extremely talented developers. Before this, I honestly would have said maybe it's time to give up on Nintendo, because I didn't like Odyssey. I thought it was shit. I didn't like Tears of the Kingdom. I thought it was shit. But if we can go from Odyssey to this, then Tears of the Kingdom, we can get the greatest Zelda game ever made after it. I'm sure of it. Maybe it won't happen, but it's definitely possible. So what I'm trying to say is, I understand if you don't want to buy this game, or buy the Switch 2 because you hate Nintendo. Anyone who has a soul hates Nintendo right now. But I also hate Walmart, but I'm gonna keep shopping at Walmart, and I guess I'm gonna keep buying Nintendo games until everyone understands the problems with the Federal Reserve and how to solve them. None of this matters anyway. That doesn't mean you can't wait though. Maybe wait for a couple games, because this is still only one good game on the Switch 2. I think the only people who really should buy Switch 2 right now is if you have young kids. If I were 8 or 9, this might be my favorite game ever made. And now I know that doesn't really sound like a compliment. Like, oh damn, if you're a small child who can barely think thoughts, you'll really love this game. But isn't that when we all fell in love with Nintendo? Isn't this game always what you dreamed of, you wish you could have had as a kid? It is the equivalent of slamming two action figures together. It's complete power fantasy, mostly brain dead. You're literally just smashing through everything, going full force. It's perfect for a child. There's no real sense of failure. Yes, when you die, you lose gold, but that's it. I've played basically every 3D platformer ever made. Of course, this isn't going to be my favorite, but for someone who's never experienced it, who's maybe not that good at video games yet, this will be perfect. And that's been Nintendo's plan for a while now. They've basically already milked all of the Nintendo fanboys dry at this point. So what they're trying to do now is target very young children so they can create an entirely new generation of Nintendo fans. Man babies can only sustain them for so long, so this was the only way of moving forward. And I would say it's a bad thing, and it has been a bad thing for a very long time, but they really hit it out of the park with this one. It is still a baby game. Babies will love it. Toddlers will love it, but man babies like me will also love it because it's just cool. It's fun to feel powerful. I'm tired of playing shitty AAA games where the point is to make you feel bad. Just one time, I want to be the big monkey man who's good at everything and destroys everyone. I'm just saying, don't let some political movement stop you from enjoying your own life. You, as an individual, not buying an individual game will make no impact at all. You will always be completely outnumbered by people who simply don't care that it's a little more expensive because everything's a little more expensive, and they don't have the knowledge to know it really shouldn't be. So unless you plan on picking up a big rock and doing something extreme, you might as well just enjoy yourself. Don't sacrifice your own happiness for others who do not care about you at all, or you can just admit that you can't afford it. That's fine. Anyway, that's the Donkey Kong Bonanza review. Good game. Go buy it. Subscribe to channel. Bye.